Hi everyone, today I'm looking at something a little bit different, but this is something I've been waiting a really long time for, as well as many other people have, and this is the Kud Wafter anime adaptation OVA that they announced 3 years ago now, and they had a campfire backing for. I did back it at the time, but obviously it took much longer than expected. It kept getting delayed, and then this year as well it got delayed again, and now it's finally out. This is course E, so this has the visual style, a special edition of Kud Wafter, as well as the original soundtrack and the actual Blu-ray, and I have watched it. I would like to share a couple of my thoughts about that as well. I did tweet about it, but not in English, so I thought maybe I could just explain a little bit in this video. So in the back I actually have the tapestry that was course B. Kud Wafter's 10th anniversary is this year, so I think that it's actually quite nice that this came out this year and not last year like it was supposed to. This is the special edition of visual style. This normally comes out with Key's Komiket sets, but this is just a special Kud Wafter Tokubetsu Go. It's just got anime settei shu and some oen irasto from Mikeyo Sensei, Masayo Sensei and Maruba Sensei, which they all used to be Little Buster fans back in the day, so it's really cool to see them actually do some official work. There's also the typical Zen comic at the back, and there's an interview with Wakabayashi Naomi, who is the voice actress of Kud. She hasn't talked about Kud or done any voice acting with Kud for a long time now, so it's really cool to see her come back and talk so much about this character. She did, of course, like all the other voice actors and actresses, come back to do a message for the 10th anniversary of Little Busters 3 years ago, but this is quite a long interview. I wasn't expecting it to be so long. I'm very glad that it is. She looks really well, so that's nice to see. So I had a read through this and it was really nice. I'm really glad to see that she's doing well and that she was really happy to be voicing Kud again. I got really excited when I saw this page. I really like the summer uniform in Little Busters, and since it's set in spring, it was never really used that much, but since Kud Wafter the anime is quite different to the game, so it follows a slightly different story, and they did introduce it at the beginning saying it's an if story, so if this happened it would have been like this. So instead of like the game where everyone had gone home and only Riki and Kud were in the school, everyone stays, so it's great to see everyone come back, and all the voice actors came back, even just for a few lines. Kengo and Masato actually got quite a bit of screen time, so that was cool. Kyosuke looks great, and just seeing everyone with a summer uniform instead, and even, you know, Masato never had the summer uniform before, so seeing that design was really cool. And there's also Sheena, and you'll probably notice that there is actually a Kud Wafter character missing, and that's Ui, which is Sheena's sister. For some reason, despite her being on the tapestry, she did not appear in the show at all, and I don't understand why. She's a character specifically from Kud Wafter, but then didn't show up in the OVA at all, and I don't really understand that. I was really expecting her to show up since I quite like her design, but there was nothing, which is really weird. I don't really know why you'd go to the effort of bringing everyone else back, but then you wouldn't bring back the character from the thing that you actually are basing it from. I'm not too sure. Sheena was in it and it was nice, but she didn't say too much. I feel like Kyosuke had more lines than she did. I don't know. Do keep in mind, if you're watching it for Little Busters, it's mostly focused on Kud. So seeing the designs is really cool for the characters that are coming back. There's Ard-chan senpai as well, which is nice. I'm wondering if they've gotten something wrong, since Ard-chan is a 3rd year, so her ribbon should be blue and it's pink, and I'm not sure if they thought about that. I don't know, there's a few little things here and there that you could kind of pick at, but they make rockets, and Mio's one is quite funny because it's literally just a picture of Kyosuke and Riki together, so it's like a Kyori rocket. I really thought that was really good, so that was nice. For some reason they didn't add Kengo onto this either, and I'm not sure why. He is in it, so don't think that he isn't. And there's some really lovely oen irasto from Mikeyo Sensei, who is a big fan of Kud, as well as Masayo and Maruma Sensei as well. I remember reading Maruma Sensei's tweets, and they were really happy to be drawing something official for Key, since they've loved Little Busters since the release date 13 years ago, so that was really cool to see that. And there's some really nice art. And at the back we've just got the usual visual jamming by Zen, and it's quite funny because it's it's about nostalgia, since Yuichi in canon obviously just brings people home, and Akiko always says it's okay that they can stay, and then he's taken the idea of Kud Wafter where they can't stay in the dorms anymore because the water's not working, so he's brought them home to ask them to stay at Akiko, and she says it's fine, so that's quite funny. And Zen obviously, as usual, has a really nice comment about Little Busters, so he always takes part in these things, which is really nice. So this was a really fun read. I'm glad that it's finally out, and it's just nice to celebrate that. And there is an original soundtrack specifically for the anime. Something incredibly exciting about this, which I think I actually really enjoyed more than anything, is that some of these songs from the original Little Busters game are actually on this, but the ones from Maeda Jun are actually the same, but then the ones from PMMK have been rearranged, so there's new versions of old songs from Little Busters, and it's really good. Some of them sound better than the original, so I was really happy about that. It's just crazy to hear like Haruka's theme song, or Kakekko and Chikutaku Routine and stuff like that, and My Brave Smile, all these songs that you hear in the Little Busters game being rearranged and almost sounding like as if Little Busters had been re-released in 2020. It's really cool. This is amazing. I really like this soundtrack. Some of the songs are originally from Kud Wafter's soundtrack as well. They haven't changed. However, there are 2 new vocal songs, which is the Puppy Dreams song, which is actually Cape of Future from Kud Wafter's original soundtrack, now with lyrics, which they do a lot in Keyworks, and the new opening song of such, it's just the song that plays at the beginning, which is Light Away, which is by Suzuyu, and Puppy Dreams is by Kitazawa Ayaka. There's also Hoshikuzu, which is Shimotsuki Haruka, but that was in the original. However, it's just really cool to hear PMMK's work come back to life in a way. I really liked that. It really surprised me when I heard that they had been rearranged. When you open up this booklet inside as well, there's a couple of scenes from the anime which are nice to look at too. And this is the Blu-ray. Cover is the same as this tapestry actually, which is nice, and if you look at the back there's some scenes. The main point about this anime that I'd like people to understand is that it's Ifu no Monogatari, so it's an if story. It's not based off the game, it's quite different. And what I said when I originally watched this is that this isn't really Kud Wafter, it's more like Kud's route extended if Riki and Kud had been together for longer. It was just really fun. I think anyone that likes Little Busters, you'll have no problem watching this. You'll just really enjoy seeing everyone come back to life. You'll hear everyone's voices again, see everyone moving again and in a different environment of such. It's really nice to see. I felt really happy watching this. I thought it was really good. It was a little bit strange at times. I just thought, oh, and also the fact that there wasn't one of the characters from Kud Wafter in there, which was really weird, but everyone had a line, so that was nice. And there's a few scenes that made me feel slightly uncomfortable because I really sat and thought about why it made me feel uncomfortable, but I found that Riki is very out of character in this, who do not expect Riki to be anything like he is in Little Busters, because he's very, very different. In this, he just has no care for any of the boys or anything like that. He's just completely head over heels for Kud. He's got no communication with any other characters, so it's a bit weird to watch a character that you really know then act like they're someone else, so be aware of that. Sheena doesn't get a lot of screen time, neither does anyone else except for Riki and Kud really, but it is nice. It is very nice. So I did enjoy this. I'm not going to give it any sort of bad thoughts. I'm just going to give out a warning and say that Riki is a little bit out of character and it's not based on Kud Wafter. It's almost like a continuation from Kud's route if Riki and Kud had stayed lovers and then spent the summer together, and if everyone hadn't gone home. I think something else I really liked was actually the disc is of my favourite CG from Kud Wafter, so that was a really nice surprise. Quite a few montages and scenes that throw back to the Kud Wafter game, I think just to kind of give a nod that they are remembering Kud Wafter, but the story of the actual anime itself is quite different and doesn't include those scenes as such. That's all I can say really. For anyone that is wondering I didn't back this and how do I get this? They are actually having a theatrical release soon. They're not sure when, but they said that once they've actually released the limited release for the people that backed the project, they are going to make a theatrical normal release version. So considering this backers version was delayed quite a few times, I can only imagine that the theatrical version will also be delayed quite a few times. I mean, it didn't all go to plan. So maybe next year they'll have a date on when they will be releasing the normal version, but don't worry, since they definitely are making a normal version. They have said that multiple times, and there's no way they would just make this and then not try to sell it. I struggle to say anything bad about this series because there just isn't anything bad you could say. I just think that why didn't they stick one of the characters in? That's a bit weird to me, and also just Miki feeling not like Miki was a bit strange. But Masato and Kengo, I must say, were the most in character, I think. If they hadn't have been there, I think I would have had poorer opinions of this anime. So I think for people that backed it on, was it Tokyo Otaku Mode that had the foreign version? I only backed it on the Japanese version, so I'm not too sure, but I think there was a version for foreigners where it was backed on there. I think their one is coming out early next year, so if you just wait a little bit longer for that, that should come out soon. Overall, I'm particularly happy about the music. I'm just really glad that Kud Wafter's 10th anniversary was finally celebrated, and even people that have left the company now went and watched the screening and stuff like that. So it's just nice to feel that Little Busters is still very loved, and hopefully this isn't the end of everything that Little Busters is going to have. I'm hoping that there'll be more. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!